So yeah, we'll get started. We're going to talk about Drupal.org, some of the stuff that we have been working on at the Drupal Association, and what we'll be bringing to Drupal.org next. So we're a pretty small team for what we do. This is the entire engineering team and some contractors, partners as well, who we work with. And I'm Neil Drum. I think my title is senior technologist, but yeah, basically full stack developer and architecting the site and building it too.
And I'm Lenny Moskalik. I'm also part of the engineering team. I am a delivery manager at the DA.
And yeah, we also want to give a shout out to our partners. Tag One helps with infrastructure, and the physical hardware we have is at the open source lab at the University of Oregon. First half of the talk, I'll talk a bit about Drupal.org features, and then Lenny will be talking about how we're helping out with Starshot. So automatic updates is something we delivered in the last, probably last few months now. So for automatic updates, a big part of that was wanting to make sure that what you're updating to is what you think you're updating to. There's no man-in-the-middle attack for you're getting software that you don't intend to have. And that, of course, had a server-side component that we did. And we contracted with Consensus Enterprises to build the server that does all of the signing and everything. Project Browser, that we wanted to try as best we could to get ahead of Project Browser to make sure that they have the data they need from Drupal.org, and using an API that we're going to have to support the same API indefinitely. So doing the API design there. And then GitLab CI. We tried to help people transition off of Drupal CI and give project maintainers even better tools on GitLab CI. And the big thing right now is the Drupal.org rebrand and upgrade. So you might have noticed, I think about a week ago, the homepage changed quite a bit to use the new design. So anytime you see the new.drupal.org in the URL, that's a page or section of the site that we've transitioned to being hosted on modern Drupal with the refreshed brand. So there's a handful of landing pages, like 5 or 6 or 7 of them, that are now using this new theme and new infrastructure. So the next steps, immediate next steps there are finishing the single sign-on integration so you can actually log into the new site. Contribution credits need to come up pretty quickly, replacing issue credits. Because issues are migrating to GitLab, we need to put contribution credits somewhere. We're rebuilding it on Drupal 10. And yeah, we're getting new branding applied everywhere as we go. And yeah, I want to thank the Promote Drupal team who did the initial draft of the rebranded pages, Palantir.net, who helped turn that into a Drupal theme. And also want to remember that Drupal.org is multiple sites. Events.drupal.org and API.drupal.org are already upgraded to either Drupal 10 or 11. Association.drupal.org, that's actually going away. It's actually mostly gone into Drupal.org already, but there's still some legacy stuff we're migrating to Drupal.org. Security.drupal.org, we're also getting rid of that and moving its functionality elsewhere instead of upgrading it, since security.drupal.org was used for basically project management and issue management. So parts are moving to Drupal.org, parts are moving to GitLab. Localized.drupal.org, there's a excellent team of volunteers working on upgrading that. I get the sense it's like at the 90% of the way there mark. They still have some outstanding issues that they're working on. And we don't have an excellent plan for groups.drupal.org or jobs.drupal.org. Some of the functionality of groups has been merged into Drupal.org with the community events. Jobs.drupal.org is something that we might upgrade in place, or there's a lot of job board software out there that we could use. The association section will get some special attention to improve the branding of the Drupal Association. And we have all this Drupal.org functionality that needs to be upgraded and moved into new theme: case studies, user profile pages, community events. And yes, issues are moving to GitLab. First step of that, or actually the next step of that, we've been working on this already, is issue credit being rebuilt on Drupal 10. And decoupling functionality. Think of like documentation. A documentation page or a blog post might link to an issue and have like the color of the issue. We can't do that. Green for fixed, orange, yellow for needs work. We don't do that anymore since it's a separate site and we can't query that right away. All of the issues are moving to GitLab, including closed and fixed issues. The migration will be project by project as an opt-in basis when we get there. And projects and releases are staying on Drupal.org. We need that for project browsing, additional metadata there, and releases are not in a place where we can really think about changing the packaging, since Drupal core needs the packaging to work as is. And at the same time as all of this, we're rebuilding everything on a modern web stack, Kubernetes, Carpenter, and we've also been making some incremental improvements for the community. If you have an organization on Drupal.org, there's a little bit more detail on organization issue credits by contributor. I had a few people asking about being able to track more specifically who was doing what at each organization to contribute to Drupal. Security team support, so this is part of the replacing security.drupal.org. So like one small example is the list of the team members moved to Drupal.org instead of on security.drupal.org. In addition to all of that, we are managing the program for migration partners for Drupal 7. And I think actually not just migration partners, the extended support providers. So landing pages for that, and finding partners for migration or extended support. All right, Starshot coordination.
Thank you. So hello again. And I will give you a quick overview on the Starshot coordination and how exactly we are involved as NDA. So first and foremost, we are coordinating all the agreements with the partners that are contributing to the Starshot, which means that we reach out to them after they shown the interest in contributing to Drupal CMS, and obviously signing the agreements, allocating necessary credits, appropriate credits, And yeah, so far we, in general, we had, I think, around 26, and now we're getting more and more people actually wanting to join. So I think after even this couple of days, 26 is already an outdated number, which is a good thing. The commitments that has been made so far is 23 agreements. We have quite a few active leads, as I mentioned, and by now, I just was checking it out before the session. So hours that have been committed are up to 28,499. And here is the list of the contributors with the dedicated tracks that we have. And obviously, I might have, if I missed someone, sorry for that. But yeah, we have even more to come, as a matter of fact. There is quite a few of the tracks that have been released comparatively recently. So yeah, we are looking forward to as well finding new partners that will be contributing to those tracks that currently are out, and we are gathering the list of the people that and companies that are showing the interest in that. Next is the documentation. So in Dries mentioned that we have the Adopt a Document program, and I would like to tell you a little bit more about it. So first of all, what is it about? Adopt a Document is not only dedicated to Drupal CMS and creating world-class documentation for it, although it's one of our main objectives in terms of time sensitivity. What we want to achieve, though, is a little bit more than that. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Because what we want to do, we want to have the great documentation for everything that we have at the Drupal.org. And that is a very ambitious task, as a matter of fact, but we are hoping to achieve that as well. What that means, so not only we want to review the documentation that is available currently and see what is outdated, what needs an update, or what needs to be written from scratch, but as well we want to use some system that will simplify the process of update of the documentation. So such as Git pages or like any others or some other solutions that we currently looking into and about to make decision on which solution we are moving forward with. But what we want to do, we want to make sure that it will be easy to update the documentation via merge requests. So yeah, that will be basically docs as a code solution. And obviously that is like phase by phase, so we are starting with Drupal CMS, and next step will be getting editor-in-chief or documentation lead, as we call it now. And how we getting basically the money for that is the next slide. So Adopt a Document itself, what is it about? So it's dedicated to the Drupal CMS, as I already mentioned, and it gives the opportunity to the companies sponsor one or multiple sections of the documentation, which like basically by donating $2,400 for a year, you're getting some of the benefits, such as your logo will be placed at the section of the documentation, so all the potential users will be able to see it. Also, on the top of that, there is the page that we are creating with the list of all the contribution, and the logo will be presented over there as well. And last but not the least, you are getting for, as in any other financial contribution related to the Starshot, for every $100 donated, you are getting 1 credit, which adds up to 24 credits. But where does is all of this money going to the partner, and which is Drupalize Me, that will be and are writing the documentation for Drupal CMS? No, it is a little bit more complex than that. I will jump one slide forward. And as you can see, so basically from this 2,400, part of the money will be indeed going to Drupal to pay for the work that they are doing in order to create the documentation. But another part will be going to fund the possibility to onboard documentation leads. Basically, the person that essentially will be working with the community in order to allocate the priorities for the documentation in terms of the updating, archiving, and so on and so forth. We'll be working with stakeholders. And we'll be actually in close communication with the working groups in order to make things happen. And one slide back. At the moment, we have 16 sections funded. We have 9 sections available and the 3 active leads. And by active leads, we mean that we're actively communicating with 3 companies about the section that they want to be funding. And that's like actually the screenshot of the first page that has been created by the Drupal Me for the events. So as you can see over here, that's the pretty logo. That has, I think that's the one of the components that has been developed over the day, and we are looking forward to the work on the necessary functionality and necessary design components to be completed, and we are getting help by Optizy with delivering that functionality. And with that, that was me. So please, any questions to me or to Neil? Okay, in that case, thank you everyone. Oh yeah, yes please.
Hey, maybe not specific to, kind of half related, I suppose. For like contribution, is the so I guess the GitLab is going to run all the tests still, like with the patches and things. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, patches are already deprecated for the last few months. So yeah, don't upload patches. And yeah, GitLab does all of the merge request testing pretty well for core. And of course, project by project, it's up to, some modules will have good testing. A lot of modules will have less good testing.
Oh, okay, cool. And my specific question is, where can we go to learn more about writing tests and that kind of thing, so we can make sure that when we fix something, it works great on the testing platform and just in general, for committing?
Let's see. I don't know offhand. Actually, do you have?
I don't have a good answer. So it depends on what kinds of tests you're talking about. And it depends on what your code is, right? So for PHP unit tests, there's a series of base classes that you can build your test on. So what code are you looking to write tests for?
All levels, so not just PHP, but also UX. I'm just looking for some sort of tutorial, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, it definitely depends on the kind of application that you're trying to write tests for. But in general, if you have, say, a contributed module or a custom module, a good place to start would be with browser test base. So browser test base allows you to write PHP tests for just sort of like an integration test of the PHP functionality of your module. It lets you do things like click buttons in the user interface and just go through the steps that someone might take when they're doing something in the user interface. So when you write a test, the best thing to do is just sort of take the steps that a user would take and then put those in the test and see if they pass or fail. And then the browser test-based class is extended by a class that can do JavaScript as well. Now, if you have a module that has a lot of JavaScript in it, you don't want to start from that place because it's not very great. It can do JavaScript testing, but it's something that PHP developers wrote to test JavaScript. It's not really a good thing for testing JavaScript. So the answer to that question depends on a lot of things. There's a lot of documentation on Drupal.org, so it's a good resource for writing tests for Drupal code, for code that you're going to post on Drupal.org, but it's not a good resource for writing tests for your own applications. So that's I guess the answer to that depends a lot. But that's not why I was asking for the mic. So, and now I've forgotten why I was. Oh, I remember why.
There's another person who was ahead of you, I think.
Okay.
But here's some of the documentation. And yeah, there's a lot of different types of testing. Saying use GitLab CI is basically, you could do anything with GitLab CI. So, yeah.
Neil, you said that all the issues are migrated to GitLab. Is there anything that I, as maintainer, can do to help, or is it an automatic task?
So yeah, it'll be automatic. We have a lot of the code to migrate to the actual migration already drafted and kind of ready to go. It's just a question of having the time to get the issue credit migrated first, and time to just work on it. And in the next few weeks, few months, you'll see some sort of call to action saying, hey, we'd like first set of modules to beta test and have their issues migrated first. And if you want to do that sooner rather than later, let us know, and we'll get you in the queue.
Okay, so I heard in your thing that for $100 they get 1 credit. What kind of credit is that credit?
Oh, that's a good one.
Because, okay, for context, my
great.
rate is $100 an hour for a community contribution, and that's for an hour of my work, and it's a rate that gets doubled up with multiple sponsors, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for part of my time for 1 hour. Now I'm a US developer, so rates are higher there than a lot of part of the world, so that's a factor. But 1 hour of my work does not an core issue credit make. Like, it takes many hours of my work for most core issues. So I was just wondering where that number came from. It's something that I put a lot of thought into, like how much does an hour of my time cost? I put a lot of thought about into this when I was, I wrote up Patreon tiers that describe how much a task I do works. So $100 is the number I came up with for sponsoring a full code review. If I spend 30 to 60 minutes doing a single session of code review on an issue. Now that's not all of the time that I put into an issue. That's just one session of code review on an issue that I'll probably come back to multiple times. That's the amount that I came up with there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes up and down from there. For example, I came up with a number like doing a core security release costs something like $250 a month for 4 months or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was interested where that amount came from, and then how that credit is weighted, because since this is my income, it's a topic I think about a lot, and I think we all have to think about it a lot because it influences how the marketplace, sort of how we influence the ecosystem to drive money and resources where we want them to go.
Sure. So I think I can clarify part of that at least. So basically, the credits that are being gained for the documentation, same as for the contribution to Starshot, they being added to the company's account as per special program, with reference to the special program. So they go obviously only to the company. Yes, so that's why where that is coming from. In terms of the amount of money, like the $100 for a credit, to be completely honest with you, I'm not sure what exactly has been weighted in order to to come up with that amount, due to the fact that it has been done before my time with the TA as the employee. So that's a good question, and I would be happy to actually dive into that. Yeah, so that's basically one of the things that we were trying to do, or to be quite generous with credits when it comes to Starshot, as it is the priority work that we and time sensitive as well. So from the very start, we did realize that it will be a really tight timeline. That's where this rate is coming from. But like more factors that being encountered, I'm not sure about those.
Sorry, I joined this session last minutes, and so I'm interested in the localization of new Drupal.org document, and so I'd like to know how to contribute for translation in some local languages.
Translating Drupal.org itself or translating the Drupal software?
Documentation, Drupal.org. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely something we'd like to support. After documentation has been migrated to the new site, then we'll start looking at, what's next will be, all of the functionality that's in the backlog, and yeah, localized documentation is a big one.
So, and another thing that's just to add up a little bit to what Neil already described. So, part of the work on the documentation that I was referring to, the documentation lead who will be working with the community, etc. So, obviously, having translations is that would be absolutely great. And in all honesty, I think that we will also need some of that help even for the Drupal CMS, for the marketing pages, as we want to promote this product in Asia as well. So hence we would like to have it translated to Japanese, to Chinese, to many other local languages in the Pan-Pacific area. And in terms of the documentation itself, when we are talking about the work of the documentation lead who will be joining and rewriting Drupal.org docs, so that will be a responsibility of the documentation lead to set the priorities, first of all, based on the insight from within the DA, from the community, from the working groups, and so on and so forth. Then we will have the plan of actions, if you will, like the milestones that we want to work on, which will be shared both internally and externally in order to share it with the community, give people the information, okay, so that's how you can get involved. So, and we are hoping to onboard documentation lead early 2025. So sometime in the Q1, we will be communicating that. So please stay tuned. And please add myself and everyone from the DA to in LinkedIn, etc., because we are sharing obviously the news on the Slack channels. We're sharing the news through LinkedIn, through other social media. So yeah, please stay tuned.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that for each $100 you get 1 credit, and you'll be able to use it within a year. What does it even mean? How do you use it?
I mean, the credits can be used for the company. For instance, if you are a Drupal certified partner, or you want to become Drupal certified partner, so the rules changed since last year, I think, or early this year. That the only financial contribution is not enough. So in order to be the Drupal certified partner, you have to also contribute code or time or any sort of resources in order. So it might be sponsoring the events. It might be, resolving some of the issues on the Drupal org, etc., etc. And in order to have let's say bronze or silver or gold and so on and so forth level of the Drupal certified partner, you need X amount of credits. So that's from the top of my mind first thing. Anything else, Neil, that you can think about? How else you can use the credits?
Yeah, I mean, just rank in the marketplace or Drupal services listing, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. All right, I think we've answered all the questions. Thank you.